You've most likely seen buildings with fancy columns, used various words or phrases like panic or Achilles' heel, or seen movies like Hercules, Wrath of the Titans, or Troy. Well, I want to tell you about the influences that the ancient Greeks have on today's society. I will describe how the Greeks influence our architecture, our language, and the entertainment industry. I've read books that are about Greek mythology, took the mythology class that was offered at my high school, and I am currently taking the Greek Roman mythology class that is available at the community college in Elizabethtown. You are probably vaguely familiar with the impact that the various aspects of Greek culture have had on today's society. So let's take a look at some of the buildings with architecture that were inspired by the Greeks. The overall design of Capitol Hill was inspired by the styles that the Greeks had used for their important public buildings. Some of the buildings that you would see today that use this style are the United States Capitol Building, the Supreme Court Building, the White House, and the Lincoln Memorial, to name a few. The Doric, Ionic, and Corinthian styles of Greek architecture, mostly seen in the use of columns, are the three major styles that have withstood the passage of time. Doric architecture is mainly seen alongside the use of vertical columns with a plain roof. The Ionic style is more intricate and elegant than that of the Doric style. Corinthian architecture is simply an altered version of Ionic. Greek architecture can also be seen in many monuments, amphitheaters, theaters, arches, in the use of domes, and even in some iconic fountains. Now that you've seen some of the ways that the Greeks have influenced the designs of buildings, let's take a look at the area of communication. Our language. Many of the words that are used in our everyday speech came from the ancient Greeks. The planets in our solar system were named after the Roman versions of the deities that the Greeks worshipped. Jupiter is the Roman version of Zeus, the king of the Olympian gods. Pluto is the Roman version of Hades, king of the underworld. Mercury is the Roman version of Hermes. Many of the constellations that we see in the night sky were also named after important figures from Greek myths. Andromeda, Cassiopeia, and Orion are just a few of them. A large number of the words that people use without even realizing it are derived from Greek mythology. Atlas, our book of maps that we use to navigate our way around, was named after the Titan Atlas, the one responsible for separating the sky from the earth. Cereal, after Ceres, the Roman form of Demeter. Narcissism, after Narcissus, a figure from Roman myth that turned into a flower after drowning because he was so in love with his reflection. And hypnosis, from the Greek god Hypnos. Even some major companies today owe their names to the ancient Greeks. Companies like Nike, who owe their name to the Roman goddess Nike, of victory. Midas, from King Midas with the golden touch. Pandora, the woman created by Zeus and the other Olympians in revenge against Prometheus. And Amazon, named after a civilization of Amazons, female warriors. Greek mythology has lent its myths and characters to creators of various forms of entertainment. Movies and book series can be found that are based on either a specific myth, hero, or Greek deity. Whether it is an original or simply a remake of an older version, Hollywood is quite fond of using mythology as the basis for a movie. Clash of the Titans, Jason and the Argonauts, The Immortals, O Brother, Where Art Thou? Is a retelling of the Odyssey. Even the Hunger Games was inspired by Greek mythology. And it was inspired by the myth of Theseus, gladiators, and the tale of the Minotaur and the Labyrinth. Several book series have been written that are based on mythology, whether they use gods and goddesses themselves as the central characters, or new characters that have to deal with them or fight mythological monsters. Percy Jackson and the Olympians by Rick Riordan. Nobody's Princess by Esther M. Frasner, using Helen of Troy as the main character. The Goddess Test by Amy Carter and the Cronus Chronicles by Anne Ursu are just a few. Whether it's a particular building, a term or phrase you heard somewhere, or a new movie or book, you might be able to find all sorts of references to the world of the ancient Greeks and their mythology. I have just described only a few of the ways in which the ancient Greeks have influenced our society. They lent us designs for architecture, a number of words and phrases to use, and possible plot lines and characters to create a movie or book with. Now that you know a little about the contributions they made to our society, try to find something else that we have today thanks to the Greeks or some other ancient civilization.